Welcome to the Wireless LAN News Desk for September 21st, 2018. My name is Tom Carpenter. I'm the CTO at CWNP. And this week, we have a couple of things in the news of importance to wireless professionals. First of all, remember that Wi-Fi Trek is now about 23 days away. We'll be in beautiful San Diego, California, so if you haven't registered yet, make sure you go to conferences.cwnp.com to get your registration in. Now, in the news, first of all, Wi-Fi vulnerability could allow attackers to steal your data on unencrypted sites. So there's an interesting report that's come out from computer scientists at the University of California, Riverside, where they actually discovered a flaw in TCP communications. So there's a side channel attack or an off channel attack, and the attack allows the attacker to ultimately get you to visit a spoofed website that looks like your bank website or any other website you might use, get you to enter your credentials, and they can, of course, steal your password. So it's kind of a side channel phishing type of attack based on being able to get the TCP sequence numbers and other information about the TCP communications in order to launch the attack. Now, the interesting thing is, it says it's a Wi-Fi vulnerability. Well, it's not really a Wi-Fi vulnerability. It's taking advantage of the way Wi-Fi works in order to get the TCP vulnerability to work well. So the key is that for this TCP attack to work, we need to be able to measure the time of communications between an attack target and a server and measure variances in those communications. So the variances in the communications inform us that we have guessed a proper sequence number or initialization number or something like that. So the point is that Wi-Fi is half duplex, and it's easier to measure there than it is on a wired network. So what we can do is we can take advantage of the fact that it's half duplex, take advantage of the fact that spaces of time are greater, and by that alone, we can end up figuring out whether or not we've properly guessed a sequence number, which allows us to launch the attack on TCP. So the key is not that Wi-Fi has a vulnerability, it's that the way Wi-Fi works allows this TCP vulnerability to be real. Now, of course, obviously, the way to avoid these kinds of attacks is the same way we always have, because here's the reality. These attacks are attacks that take advantage of either the lack of encryption with HTTPS or the lack of user awareness of what they're actually doing. So some of them require malware to be installed on the computer first, and then the attack can happen, and some of them do not. There is a video on YouTube that you can watch. If you do a search for something like Wi-Fi TCP vulnerability, you'll see a presentation that was given just a few days ago, actually, on this attack by one of the scientists from the University of California, Riverside. So it's interesting to learn about, but it's important that I want to emphasize it's not really a vulnerability in Wi-Fi. It is the way Wi-Fi works, and it becomes a perfect target platform to take advantage of a TCP vulnerability. So that's the summary of this attack. Now, the other information that's new this week is that we found out this week that NETSCOUT had divested the handheld network test business. And so they have handed this over to Stone Calibre, and this includes their AirCheck G2, which is of great interest to those of us in the wireless space, but also their suite of wireless applications like Wi-Fi Analyzer Pro, Site Survey Pro, Spectrum XT, and so forth. So it will be interesting to see where this goes. I'm really hopeful that the acquiring company will realize the assets they have and take these solutions further and bring them into the modern age, but also take them further because there's a great foundation there for them to build on. Time will tell what happens with that, but I thought you'd like to know that this did take place in the last week. Well, that's all I have for the Wireless LAN News Desk today. Thank you very much for viewing, and I'll see you next week.